President's been very clear. Militarily, we are going to be prepared should something go wrong, and our military is prepared.
Well, that's Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, of course, right after that United Nations Security Council meeting where he is warning North Korea. And at that meeting, the North Korean ambassador, Ja Sung-nam, sat right across the semicircular table, marking the first time it's believed that a top official of Kim Jong Un's regime sat face-to-face with our Secretary of State. So, did Nam, the North Korean ambassador, get the message? Ambassador John Bolton joins us, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, a Fox News contributor, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and chairman of the Gatestone Institute here in New York. So, Ambassador, often they read statements, and it's a very pro forma type of a situation. But do you think anything that the Secretary of State said really sunk in Mr. Nam's ears?
Well, I think the fact that Secretary Tillerson is still talking about the possibility of negotiation with North Korea undermines the signal of strength that we're trying to show. You know, it may sound paradoxical, but the slim chance that North Korea will do anything to denuclearize or that China will force them to denuclearize increases to the extent they think the military threat is real. And if they think the U.S. military threat is just more rhetoric like the last several administrations, they're going to disregard it, and then North Korea will get deliverable nuclear weapons. That's the point we're at now. This is coming very soon, I think, unless we take action.
Oh, they're pointing to the military exercises that we have with South Korea. They're saying that that's offensive and that we want to invade them. That's the whole basis for their nuclear program.
Yeah, well, you know, we couldn't care less about North Korea, frankly, if it weren't for the fact they were developing nuclear weapons. And I think everybody knows that the Kim family dynasty's objective is to take control of South Korea. So having a nuclear capability would allow them to blackmail Japan, South Korea, and the United States to force American troops out of South Korea, to leave South Korea vulnerable. It would be an enormous source of revenue for this desperately poor regime in North Korea. They'll sell ballistic missile or nuclear technology to anybody, which is why they are so dangerous globally, not just in the Pacific region.
Well, what do you think the chances are of that, and how do we prevent it?
Well, I think, as the CIA Director Mike Pompeo said recently, they're within a matter of months of being able to hit targets within the United States with a thermonuclear weapon. We don't know exactly how many months, but as these things go, this is an imminent possibility. And once they get the ability to hit New York, let's say, with a nuclear weapon, our ability to take preemptive action against them is effectively over. That's what they're playing for. We've tried to rely on China. I think the president gave him a tough message during his visit to Beijing. But so far, I have to say, there's no evidence China's done a blessed thing any differently than they've done the past 25 years, which is essentially let the North continue to advance its scientific and technological ability.
Well, is China violating the very United Nations Security Council resolutions that they vote for?
I don't have any doubt of that. That's routine business for the Chinese military and for the Russians. While we're on the subject, they make money by violating the sanctions, or at least winking at those who are.
And the North Korean ambassador, Mr. Nam, he called North Korea, quote, a responsible nuclear power and peace-loving state. Here's some of what he said during that Security Council meeting.
Our possession of nuclear weapons was an individual self-defensive measures of defend our sovereignty and rights of existence and development from the U.S. nuclear threat and blackmail, and anyone is to blame for it. The U.S. is the one who must be held accountable.
You heard him say it. If anyone is to blame for it, the U.S. must be held accountable. He accuses us of nuclear blackmail. Ambassador, finally, I mean, is there any sign of hope in the fact that he was there, that he showed up? I mean, he walked out when President Trump addressed the General Assembly in September.
Yeah, well, the North Koreans love to walk out to demonstrate their contempt for the rest of the world. They're pretty good at that. Look, that was a propaganda speech. And the fact is, we're very close to a binary choice. If China doesn't act dispositively to get rid of the North Korean regime, which I think is the only long-term solution to the nuclear problem, then we're either going to have to contemplate using military force or accept that North Korea will be the nuclear arms sales center of the world to Iran, to terrorist groups, to other third world countries that have nuclear aspirations. That's not a future I look forward to.
You think China will do that?
You know, look, there's some in China who have been writing that maybe joint Chinese-U.S. military action against the North would make sense. The answer to the North Korean nuclear threat is the North Korean regime, and the answer to the North Korean regime is to eliminate it, either by reunifying the peninsula or replacing it with a completely different government. And time is running out. That's the fact.
Ambassador John Bolton, who is with us every Sunday at this hour, thank you so much as always.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course.